Hello, all of you. Here we begin with the second class for clubbing of income, which is just going to be 15 minutes. In that last 5 minutes, cross transfer I could not cover up because of the time schedule yesterday. So I will cover it up little later. I want to revise everything. Let it take, instead of 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Clubbing is a topic which you learn it now in such a way that from today, directly you answer in your answer sheet correctly. Business head, you need revision. Okay, this is add, this is less, this is depreciation. Salary, you need to revise again after 15 days. What's the government limit for gratuity? 20 lakhs. Pension, kuch bhi nahi hai. Leave salary, 25 lakhs. Retrenchment. Essay you will have to do. But clubbing and set off are the topics ki now only chew it, digest it. Directly, if someone asks you in exam, then you should be able to do it. And one of the best way of learning, I'm again saying, there are some students who are attending online, they cannot come for these face-to-face classes, or there are students who miss out some class because of the BCom exam. You go and help them. After 5 years, you will give me a call. Ma'am, I could do it. That was my capacity ki I could explain to someone, but I was hesitant. वो पूछेगी तो मैं answer करूंगी. No, those who don't know, they are even hesitant to ask. So one of the best way to enhance your knowledge is you outstretch and tell them, even though classes are 8:30 to 5:30, if you are okay, I'll be sitting 15 minutes extra, and or I'll come at 8 o'clock, dosa khilana tu mujhe, and I will explain you clubbing, whatever gist ma'am has told, and then you can write the notes. Do it, dear students. You are in an awesome stage of learning. If not, I'll share with all of you the picture today in the Times of India paper, no? Who is the chess player, youngest one who came to India recently? Very humble chess player. And he said this, that whatever you are doing, if you want outstanding result, one of the best way is to like what you are doing. So if you are very clear, I'm doing this for degree, for my career, for money, for job, for name, for my identity, and that's why CA final, CMA final, that's why CA Inter. If you are wise, clear, and you are doing, you will do it awesomely. Chalo. So with this, let us start clubbing of income. I'm revising everything. Wherever you have doubt, you ask me. Okay. Shall we do the revision from notebook से करेंगे आज revision. Okay. Clubbing of income is a topic where we have yesterday written lot of notes. We have solved the question answers also. These are the cases wherein others' income is taxable in your hands. है ना? 1 minute. Acha, and when you club others' income in your hands, be specific. If my husband's salary is clubbed in my hands, salary head. If my daughter is receiving the rental income, but I am owner, then that income which is clubbed in my hands, received by daughter, clubbed in my hands, it is income from rent, house property. Suppose if my minor son is receiving FD interest, for me also it will be income from other sources. So headwise the income is clubbed, and for this we have written very beautiful notes yesterday. Okay, chalo, let us see this. Whenever section 60 says, whenever income is transferred without transfer of the asset, I am the owner of the property, but rental income is received by my son, then also I am the deemed owner, I have to pay tax. Whenever I transfer the property, but I keep a charge in that, it is revocable transfer. I say, okay, enjoy my property, enjoy my investment portfolio for 4 years, and when I come back, return to me. Okay, then it is not a transfer. Even in those 4 years, even though you are managing my portfolio, whatever is the income, regular income, dividend, interest, capital gain, it will be taxable in my hands. Next is, suppose if it's a revocable transfer, I said, okay, 4 years I'm going to Switzerland. You keep the shares, you do whatever you want. Whenever I come back, you give it to me. But then I'm not going to revoke it during the lifetime of the beneficiary. Transfer it till it is alive. I will not take it back. Then even though it's a revocable transfer, it's your income transferee. You have to pay the tax. Clubbing provisions will not come here. Clear to all of you? Next, we saw beautiful provision without which never you will see an exam. minor below 18 years age, whatever income they get, including stepchild and adopted child and married minor daughter, that income is clubbed in the hands of the parent who is having highest income. But when you see highest income of parent, their mutual clubbing, husband's income clubbed in wife, wo pehle kar lo, and put a line across, see whoever's income is highest, minors, all the minor children income will be clubbed in single parent who's having highest income in the first year. Next year onwards, we will not see who's having highest income. Once it is clubbed in my husband's hand, every time it will be clubbed in the same hands. But whenever minor's income is clubbed in the hands of the parent, they will get up to 1500 standard, say not standard, but 1500 flat deduction per child, irrespective of number of child for whom income is added. Exception when minor's income is not clubbed with the parents. Three exception. One is minor is handicapped. Another is minor is in deriving income from skill and talent. And third is there's a partition. There's a divorce and husband and wife are separated. Then minor's income will be clubbed in the hands of the parent who is maintaining him, who is taking care of him, jiske saath wo rehte hain. Right? Okay. Now listen, all of you, in the minor's income to be clubbed in the hands of the parent, I told you exception. If the minor is a very good singer, Indian Idol dance and all, and he's getting income from talent, that will be taxable in his hands. But through talent, he earned 10 lakh rupees, and that 10 lakh he has put in FD. And that FD interest received is clubbed in the hands of the parent. Is the case clear to all of you? Yeah? This is because the way they ask is indirectly. Then we feel, Arey ma'am, wo to minor ki talent. Minor's talent income was 10 lakh. Taxable in the hands of the minor. Parent will sign his written as representative SSC, no problem. But once that minor, okay, he is earning 10 lakh rupees and investing in an FD, FD interest will be taxable in the hands of the parent. Okay. So this is all about minor. Next case are the four crucial cases we saw. That what do you mean by substantial interest? I marked it very important. If possible, now also put a star mark. Any person who is a partner in a firm with more than 20% PSR, any person who is a director or shareholder in a company with more than 20% voting right. Yeah. And I told you voting right need not be legal voting right. It is beneficial ownership, not legal ownership. A is legally owning only 14% shares of RIL. HUF as a Karta, A of is owning 10% share of RIL. So legally, to both of them are less than 20%. But put together, it is 24%. Right? Okay. Now, coming to income of the spouse. Suppose spouse is getting any income from the firm or company as salary, as fees, as commission, as remuneration without qualification. Then no clubbing will be attracted. Sorry, without qualification clubbing hoga. Sorry. Wife is getting income from the husband's firm as salary, fees, commission, as accountant, but she's not qualified, not working. Then that income which is given from the partnership firm to partner's wife, it will be clubbed in the hands of partner. But if the wife is getting, say, fees as interior decorator, she is and she's getting the fees, no problem, no clubbing. Okay? If husband and wife both are having substantial interest and both are getting salary without qualification and all, then that income is clubbed in the hands of husband or wife who's having highest income. Very important for Q&As, I told you that when spouse contributes the capital, wife is starting a boutique with 5 lakh, husband contributed 2 lakh, total capital 7 lakh. In that, the profit is 35,000. Then proportionate capital contributed 2 lakh mein profit kitna hai? So like that cross multiply. But dear students, you have to check this on 1st of April. What was the capital contribution by spouse? If the capital is contributed, say on 10th of April, no problem. No clubbing will be done this year. Next year, we will see. And if the husband gives 2 lakh rupees not as capital contribution, but as loan, then to no problem. There's no income, just he has given the loan. Last, I told you 4 cases where A has transferred the asset to Mrs. A without consideration, out of love and affection. Then what? See, if husband is transferring asset to wife, it's not a problem. But if wife is getting income on that, that income is clubbed in the hands of husband. I've given you very crystal clear, the best of the mind mappings, flowcharts, whatever you call. And if you learn this way, you will be able to answer the question. Second is, husband is giving the assets and all to an AOP or a trust or a third person where the main beneficiary is wife. So indirectly income received by wife is taxable in the hands of husband. Husband, I am saying this could be vice versa. Or if the SSE transfers the assets to daughter-in-law. SSE means saas sasur dono. If they transfer the asset to daughter-in-law, what as long as daughter-in-law is enjoying that car, no problem. But moment she gives the car on rental and she's getting income, that income is clubbed in the hands of the SSE. Same way, if there is a transfer to third person. Then I taught you the case of HUF where there was confusion. तो आप ध्यान से सुनो, फिर भी कोई डाउट है तो पूछो. There's an existing HUF wherein Mr. A is karta or co-partner. Now what Mr. A as a member of HUF does? He throws or transfers his personal property to HUF. This is my building. I gave it on rent to Taj Group of Hotels. Now rental income belongs to HUF. But he's the deemed owner of the asset. So rental income will not be taxable in the hands of HUF. It will be taxable in his own hands. Clear? Now, even though A transferred to HUF personal property, income derived from the property will be taxable in the hands of the A. ये तो हो गया. Now, afterwards, after some time, the property is partitioned. And 4 parts we have done. Mr. A, Mrs. A, son and daughter. So whatever part of the property which belonged to Mr. A personal, and he thrown back into HUF and now again it came back to Mr. A or has gone to Mrs. A. Indirectly, Mr. A transferred his property to HUF and from HUF it went to wife. So now after partition, whatever is income derived by wife and husband, it will be taxable in the hands of Mr. A. Okay. For this, we have done a very nice question. It takes effort to select matlab pure past exam mein questions and put it in proper table here. And this one is, I want all of you to write here, refer problem number 9. Problem number 9 is there on page number 206. That will make all the things clear. Okay, right. Now you ask me any doubt you have in this. Oh, already 15 minutes to revision में हो गए. अब हम क्रॉस ट्रांसफर और कुछ और भी पढ़ेंगे. हाँ बोलो बेटा.
मैम क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में एक डाउट है.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 3.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 में एक डाउट है.
Sure. You all did the homeworks, right? One second. वो कमा रहा है तभी तो लेना है. One second, not able to do again the screen sharing. I don't know why this technical issue is happening again. That lower part of the screen is getting stuck up. Is the voice getting cut or you're able to hear me properly, all of you?
It's getting cut, ma'am.
वही शोर है फिर से. चलो ठीक है. I'll have to do something. We'll check. ठीक है. Just 2 minutes in case if I.
मैम लीव करके ज्वाइन करें वापस हम लोग.
वो पता है पॉज और स्टॉप भी नहीं हो रहा, पूरा स्क्रीन ही अटक गया. आई एम ऑल्सो so much dependent we are on technology again. However, we say, okay, I'll control this, I'll that. Chalo. Third problem, you said you are having some doubt, ask, and then we will go to the last part of this question. Yeah, Mr. Don, Chota Don. Yeah, tell me, what is the doubt there?
मैम
हाँ
डाउट क्लियर हो गया है.
ठीक है, चलो तो ऐसे ही करो ना, फिर डाउट क्लियर कर लिया करो. चलो, we will go to the last concept in this. It talks about two small bits and then even the cross transfers. Okay, so come back to your notebook and write down this as a booster note. Write down as a dialogue. Income on. Okay, not like this.
मैम जिस पेज छोड़ा है वहां पे लिखना है.
हाँ, राइट डाउन. अगर जो आपने पेज छोड़ा है वहां जगह है तो वहां लिखो, नहीं तो बाद में लिखो. एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट लास्ट, इनकम ऑन asset which is transferred without adequate consideration. Income on asset which is transferred without adequate consideration is taxable, but income on income is not taxable. But income on income is not taxable. Very important note concept. You can say I'm in the first concept. Like Mr. Rajat. हो गया लिखना? I'll dictate. Income on asset which is transferred without adequate consideration is taxable, but income on income is not taxable. Like Mr. Rajat transferred car. He gifted car also to Mrs. Rajat. As long as she's enjoying, no problem. She starts getting car rental income. Now this car rental income will be clubbed in hands of Mr. Rajat. From yesterday, I am repeating this example. Husband has transferred asset to wife out of love and affection without adequate consideration. As long as wife is enjoying the car for her rides, no problem. But she started giving it out on rent and she's deriving rental income. It will be taxable in the hands of Rajat. Okay. Say rupees 1 lakh rental income. Though it is received by wife. I want all of you to write. Received by wife, car rental income, but it will be taxable in the hands of the Rajat. Now, what Mrs. Rajat does is, she makes FD of rental income, rupees 1 lakh. Though this 1 lakh is taxable in the hands of Rajat, but actually who is getting the rental income? Wife, 1 lakh. She makes FD of this rental income. Okay. She makes FD of this rental income. Now she's deriving FD interest. Will this FD interest 10,000 also be taxable in the hands of Rajat? Yes or no? What is your view?
No, ma'am.
No. FD interest 10,000 taxable in hands of Mrs. Rajat. First time when you take regular coaching and you study this way, step by step, in detail, it should fit the concept. And any doubts you have, tomorrow also, set off आज एक दिन में खत्म नहीं होगा, बहुत problem करेंगे for practice. So any doubts you have, you can ask. FD interest, you know what is F? I have transferred the asset to you 1 lakh, say. That 1 lakh rental income taxable in my hands. But income on that 1 lakh 10,000 FD interest, that's not going to be taxable in the hands of Mrs. Rajat. I mean, it's going to be taxable in the hands of Mrs. Rajat. No clubbing. If you want, you can add on more no clubbing. Every student sitting in the class is clear with this concept. Next is more beautiful than this. Second aspect of this. Okay? Hope my speed is fine. समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Next लिखो. Mrs. Reena transferred 1,000 RIL shares to Mr. Reena, उनके husband, spouse. I'm just writing the name. If you're confused, you can write to spouse. Spouse भी याद होना चाहिए ना exam के. So Mrs. Reena, she transferred RIL shares to spouse. Okay. She has transferred this shares to spouse. Now, look here. Dividend income. On the shares, they will get dividend income. CG, capital gain. Taxable in hands of Mrs. Reena because you are the deemed owner. Though you have transferred the shares to your spouse, whatever income you are getting, it's club. See, clubbing of income is a outward reaction because people are trying to divert their income. Now, who is right now owning the shares? 1,000 shares? Spouse. Spouse gets bonus shares. 1:1. Income on bonus shares. Income on bonus shares. It's also called as accretion. In the law, taxation, whatever technical language, it's called as accretion to income. Mrs. Reena, she gave 1,000 shares to husband. Okay, dividend, capital gain, you enjoy. But deemed income is taxable in her hands. But while Mr. Reena was owning those shares, he got bonus shares. 1:1. Now, bonus income will be taxable in whose hands? Income on the... हाँ, किसके हाथ में?
Spouse man.
या तो आवाज नहीं आ रही, हम सब बोल रहे हैं और या बहुत जोर से आ रही. चलो ठीक है. Okay, no problem. Got it. So the answer is income on income, accretion to asset, no clubbing. No clubbing. You can't say bonus shares पे income will also be taxable to Reena. Then I told you, oh, 7 जनम इसकी income, उसकी income, सब थोड़ी club होगी. No. So bonus shares, no clubbing of income. Income of bonus shares, taxable in hands of spouse.
Right.
Anyone is having any doubt, please ask in the diagram. Next. Third one. This should be by-hearted. इतना पूछते हैं एग्जाम में in the form of example. Clubbing of income includes losses. If I just give the punchline in the books, nothing will be clear to all of you. Clubbing of income includes losses. Example, Mr. A transferred asset Mrs. A, ठीक है, and there's a loss. Instead of income, there's a loss. This loss will also be clubbed. Clubbing of loss in hands of Mr. A. Mr. A is saying, if income is clubbed in my hands, loss also belongs to me. I will set off with my other and I will take that benefit of set off of the loss. Is this clear to all of you? Then finished writing, dear students? हो गया सबका लिखना? Yeah. Anyone not finished? Just tell me, I'm waiting. When you finish, you tell me. चलें साथ में? Done? 3 small points. Clubbing of income includes losses. So if Mr. A says wife's income is clubbed in my hands, then losses will also be clubbed. Same thing is given here. Okay. At the end I have given. Yeah, here. Please read this. Income from asset cross transfers तो अभी हम कर रहे हैं. 1 second. ये रहा. Income on the transferred asset is liable to be clubbed as indicated above, but income earned on investment made shall not be clubbed. Same example I made you write. Income on asset transferred is clubbed, but if there is any accretion, addition to that asset, any income on such accretion will not be clubbed. Okay. Income for clubbing purpose includes losses. Superb. Right? So these are all the points. And last one now is cross transfers. You know what? Husband is saying, I will transfer asset to my wife. So clubbing ho jayega. So they do cross transfers of the assets of the same value. I will transfer asset to brother's wife or to friend's wife, and they will transfer, so that indirectly it will not get taxed. But when the department comes to know that this is a fake transaction and it is actually a cross transfer, then I'm using a law word. अगर कोई सुनेंगे दीप्ति मैम लॉ वर्ड यूज कर रहे तो you check whether it is right or not. I think it's called lifting of corporate veil. Lifting of corporate veil is looking behind the curtain. So if it is known that no, there is no transfer, this is just a fake one, and behind that this is the scenario, the actual scenario is caught up, and again in husband's hands only the wife's income is taxable. That's the meaning of cross transfer. Cross transfer doesn't come directly in the exam, but it's a beautiful concept. They can ask you if these kind of cross transfers are caught up, then what is the consequence? So just directly read it, understand. Did I say correctly? Lifting of corporate veil ही बोलते हैं ना law में. और थोड़ा आपको कुछ मालूम है law में extra, which I should really know as a tax teacher to tell me, है ना? Income from asset transferred and cross transfer would be assessed in the hands of the transferor if transferor are so intimately connected to form part a single transaction. Each transfer constitutes consideration for other. Like I'm drawing it here only. Later on, you can draw it in your notebook actually. Mr. Y and Mr. Z may be friends, may be brothers, जो भी है. Mr. Y makes a gift of 5 lakh to brother's spouse, which he has made FD. समझा आपको? Mr. Y gives to Mrs. Z 5 lakh rupees. 5 lakh rupees FD. इंटरेस्ट जिस पे मिला है 50,000, and Mr. Z gives to, see, if Mr. Z is gifting anything to Mrs. Z, caught up, clubbing, husband to wife. So to brother's wife, Mrs. Y, 5 lakh property, and in that rent received is 60,000. In this case, FD interest will be taxable in the hands of Mr. Z, and rent received will be taxable in the hands of Mr. Y. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Mr. Z
Yes.
हाँ. So like this cross transfer cases, it will be taxable. Mr. Z gifted 5 lakh, which he invested in the rental income. Who? Mrs. Y. And rent is received in the hands of Mrs. Y. But Mrs. Y, actually, it's like Mr. Y has given to Mrs. Y property and she has got the income. So this income, wife's income will be clubbed in the hands of husband because both are not separate transaction, but they are same transaction. If you have understood, fine. If you want to write down clearly what are cross transfers. Oh, sure. Last one, then we are going to the very interesting part of the set off and carry forward maths. Like, beautiful topic, and just look at your past exams, you will enjoy the way they ask set off. हाँ, but ये एक question बाकी है. Will you check this on your own? It's a simple conceptual question. Done. खुद से कर लिए, घर में पढ़ लिए, कोई डाउट नहीं है, तो फिर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक शुरू करते हैं. Okay. So here we start with set off and carry forward of losses. Okay. Set off and carry forward of losses. The name of this topic is, where are we right now actually? In the stage of income tax, we have computed all the 5 heads of income: salary, allowances, perquisite, gross salary, taxable salary, rental income, GAV, NAV, interest, सब हो गया. Business head, add less, all done. Capital gain, all done. Other source, all done. So like this, all 5 heads of income is ready. And others income, if it is clubbed in my hands headwise, my spouse salary in my hands, my son's rental income in my hands, my daughter's FD interest in, वो सब हो गया. Now what you call is called as gross total income. So while you calculate the gross total income, you will add all the 5 heads of income. But the question, the name of this chapter is set off of the losses. So if you had losses anywhere, can you set off an income? Yeah, we have already done. House property 1, 2, 3. 1 income, 2 loss, 3 income. Can we set off and compute the net house property income? Yeah. I'm doing 3 business. Business 1, showroom. Business 2, restaurant. Business 3, manufacturing. If there's a loss at 1, can I set off in others? Yes. So if this way set off is allowed, it's good. But then I have 8 lakh rupees of business loss and I don't have any other income to set off. Can I carry forward this year's loss to set off in 25-26 next year? Yes. Then it is called as carry forward of the loss. This year my business loss is 8 lakhs and I don't have any other income. Can I carry forward 8 lakhs? Okay, next year I may earn 20 lakhs business profit. I will set off 8 lakhs. So ma'am, how many years you can carry forward the loss and how you can set off next year? So this is all what we are going to study in this topic. And the base logic is, in maths, we all have BODMAS rules. Yeah? BODMAS ही बोलते हैं ना, minus, minus, plus, plus, minus, minus. That we know. And we are using till date that in costing, simultaneous equation when we solve. कि minus, minus है, plus, minus है. Same way, today's class, in another 45 minutes, we'll just write booster notes and make it very clear कि it's a very small topic. What are the set of rules? Day 1, I have told you that 2 people are not friends in the 5 heads. Kiski dosti nahi hai? Anyone remembers? I said these 2 people are not friends. They don't talk to each other. आज का क्लास ऐसे ही enjoy करें. It's the most practical topic, one of my favorites, one of yours favorite. It's going to become, because सबसे easy है. और एग्जाम में अगर कुछ टफ है, मैम इनकम टैक्स पेपर was very twisted, GST they asked all amendment, there's something very easy which will help you to score marks. This is it. You'll get exclusive problem of set off. But yeah, students lose marks for presentation. Let me tell you one more thing. If I forget, please remind me. Institute has come up with a series where they are telling you exactly what is their paper correction experience, where they are feeling students can improve. It's a very nice video series in the webinar form. The gist of that I want to share with all of you also. Already I have noted down all points, but I don't want to disturb the topic. So one day we'll keep exclusive session for presentation or what is their expectation. See, whatever we like, our best subject, law, audit, tax, aapki marzi. But you have to clear the exam, so you have to do it in systematically. Anyone remembers who two are not friends?
Business and salary.
Very good. Out of 5 heads, 1 and 3 are not friends. ये दोनों बात नहीं करते एक दूसरे से. कौन? Salary and business head. So business loss cannot be set off in salary. This is just the baby step I'm showing you. So coming 30 minutes, it will be very clear. Ma'am, we want to do the plus minus and compute the gross total income. Can you tell us what are the rules? The rules we are writing now. It's very easy and they are not going to ask you anything theory or the way I'm making you write. Ma'am, तो फिर क्यों 40 minutes खराब? सीधा पढ़ के सीधे problem करते हैं. Unless you don't write the rules, you will not be able to apply and do. So now first we will go to section 70. Section 70 says intra-head setup. Inter-college competition, we compete with other colleges. Intra-college, within the college, BCom first year versus second year versus third year. So intra-head is within the same head. Can I do the set off? Yes, it's possible with some limitation. So many of my students are writing final exam are also following these flowcharts. Trust me, मैं अपनी बड़ाई नहीं मार रही हूँ पक्का, but आप बहुत अच्छे से समझ के लिखो. Otherwise, I can give colored printed, but you write it so nicely. One day before the exam, you should be clear. Okay, this I can revise it in 15 minutes. So let us divide this topic also in two parts: set off and carry forward of losses. First part is set off. Let us do the set off first. Okay. So in that directly, I want all of you to write down section 70, set off of losses. Intra-head. Everyone knows the meaning. What is intra-head? Within the same head. Write down. Intra-head, within the same head. What is the first head of income?
Salary.
Salary. No question of loss. I am giving you logical notes to fit in your mind mapping. तो आप थोड़ा ग्रामर इधर उधर होगा चलेगा. सैलरी में लॉस आने का सवाल ही नहीं है. Tell me, is it clear to all of you? How do you compute your salary? You have done 38 problems in salary. Gross salary, minus standard deduction, PT, entertainment allowance to be deducted only in case of government employee, and taxable salary. No question of loss. No question of loss. आ ही नहीं सकता उसमें. Because if the salary is 40,000, standard deduction is 40. If salary is 4 lakh gross salary, standard deduction is 75,000. So no question of loss, right? Now house property. It's allowed. House property, very well allowed. House 1, house 2, profit, house 3, bracket. Loss is always written in brackets, minus sign. Set off allowed. Bilkul allowed. You can set off one loss in another. Not an issue. Third one. In business head, dear students, if you remember two kind of income I taught you. Business income and speculative income. Speculative income, if anyone has missed the class, no problem. Refer the first page of the business head, chargeability section ke नीचे. Speculative income is where you don't take the delivery of the item and you get income. It's legally allowed, speculation. Online gaming and speculation, what you do, betting and on in this matches, IPL and all, that's legally allowed, but that's not speculative income. That will go to other source. Casual income. Speculative income is where you are doing trading in the commodity market and all without taking the delivery of the items. So now the rules you have to follow for the set off of the business losses, write down. Business loss can be set off in business income. I'm making you learn the formulas. That's why I'm writing BL and BI. If you are not comfortable with abbreviations, you write everything. Business loss can be set off in business income. Business loss can be set off in speculative income, which we keep separate. Speculative में भी set off होगा और उसको अलग रखेंगे speculative को. Yeah. Now put like this block in the next to right and write down. Speculative loss can be set off only in speculative income. Speculative loss cannot be set off in business income. You copy it and I will re-explain. Stop mutual discussion. Write it. I'm yet to explain, please. Business loss you can set off in business income. Business loss you can set off in speculative income. But speculative loss, they will give an exam. What is speculative loss? That can be set off only in speculative income. Speculative loss cannot be set off in business income. That's why it's called as rigid. And rigid things are very introvert. They are in their own block. That's why I have made this box. Speculative loss, dare you go out of your regime. What's your regime? This block. Speculative loss, तुमसे speculative income के साथ दोस्ती कर सकते हो. You can't go out and set off your speculative loss with business income. That's why it's given in bracket. Now please ask your doubts. Pucho. I'm waiting. Anyone is having any doubt? Ask. Is the meaning clear to you? They'll give. Ki speculative loss is 8,000 and business income is 80,000. You cannot set off. Speculative loss can be set off only in speculative income. Anyone is still having any doubt? No? Then capital gain to everything is in the block. Or block में भी block है. Make big block of 4 lines. In that small block. मैम हमको एग्जाम लिखना है, रंगोली नहीं बनानी है. Write down. Long-term capital loss. Long-term capital loss arises when you sell a long-term capital asset. And long-term capital asset is when you hold it for more than 2 years, 3 years, depending on the age of the asset. वो capital gain में है. Long-term capital loss can be set off in long-term capital gain. Long-term capital loss cannot be set off in short-term capital gain. See, both the losses are staying in their own house, duplex house. In that also, the long-term capital gain is staying in the first floor. He's not, who is staying in the first floor? Long-term capital loss. He is ready to set off in long-term capital gain. First floor के first floor जो है मुझे बोलो. He is not even ready to climb down and come to ground floor and meet younger brother. Short-term capital loss. हाँ, लेकिन short-term capital loss छोटा है, but अच्छा है. Short-term capital gain can be set off in short-term capital loss. Short-term capital, oh, I wrote reverse one. Short-term capital loss can be set off in short-term capital gain. Short-term capital loss can be set off in long-term capital gain. Younger brother is saying, I will take care of the house. I will take care of the ground floor. If required, I'll come to the first floor also to meet you. Long-term capital gain. I'm teaching in a very different way, but keep patience. 40 minutes just give me. It will be very helpful to you learning in this way. But I want to pause here. आपने लिख लिया बेटा? ये देखो. Anyone in the class who doesn't know what is this short term and long term? So whenever I transfer asset, I get profit. It's called as my gain. So say let us take a property. The age of the property till 2 years is short term. Like you all above 18, oh, 18th birthday, get your PAN card, driving license and all, election and all. Below 18. Like that, house property age. Up to 2 years, if I hold the house property and sell it, I purchased house property, within 6 months I sold. Short-term capital gain or loss. Loss hai to loss, profit hai to capital gain. If I hold the property for 5 years and then I sell it, it's long-term capital asset. So when I sell, the profit is called as long-term profit. The loss is called as long-term. Now, without looking at the screen, just listen and then ask your doubts. Then only I'll go to the fifth head. तो यहाँ ध्यान से सुनो एक बात. Who is the most rigid long-term capital loss? Where is he? First floor of the duplex house. Long-term capital loss is saying, I will set off only in long-term capital gain. Long-term capital loss is not come down to meet a younger brother short-term capital gain. उसके साथ भी बात नहीं करना है. मेरा खाना पीना सब ऊपर भिजा देना. I'll be in the first floor. ठीक है, आपकी मर्जी. Short-term capital gain is staying in the ground floor. It can set off in short-term capital loss. Short-term capital loss can be set off in the long-term capital gain. I'll come and meet you. I'm short-term capital loss. I'll come and meet you. Both. But both of them are staying in their house. They're not going to meet their neighbors. Means short-term and long-term losses are in block. Ma'am, in my income, there is short-term capital loss, but there is business income. Can I set off? No. Short-term and long-term are so rigid members of a colony, they don't go out in the row houses and meet other people in their neighbors. बाजू में कौन रहता है? गेटेड कॉलोनी है, फिर भी घर से बाहर ही नहीं निकलते. कौन? शॉर्ट टर्म एंड लॉन्ग टर्म. They are in their own zone. Clear to all of you? Now you ask your doubts. Only one last head is over and then I'll read from the material also. Only 2 pages material may be seedhe problem though. You know, it's like maths. The more you practice, you remember. Yeah, minus, minus, plus, plus, minus, minus, like that. Everything is clear until now? Not clear or clear? अच्छा, clear के साथ interesting है या नहीं? समझ में आ रहा है? Students do silly mistake. I've seen answer sheets in salary, it's loss. Array, this is not mistake, this is a blunder. If you have studied income tax, you should know salary, so there's no chance of getting a loss. Common logic. House property, H1, H2, H5, H6. Aane do, we will see. Business loss. Yeah. I will to flexibly adjust with everyone. In business, there's a smaller brother, thoda rigid hai, introvert hai. Uska naam hai speculative loss. Only in speculative income. Ma'am, but speculative loss is there and there's no income only. 5 years, 8 years are over. ठीक है. वो carry forward में I'll tell you. कब lapse होगा, क्या होगा. Capital gain. Both the brothers never come out and meet others in their colony. But in that also, the most rigid is long-term capital loss. Only in long-term capital gain. I'll not come down also. ठीक है. Short-term capital loss. Ground floor. Short-term capital gain के साथ भी mix होगा. Short-term capital loss. Long-term capital gain के साथ भी mix होगा. Okay? And now the fifth head of income, where there's a very small loophole where the students go wrong. You know, actually in income from other sources also, there's no question of loss. Why there will be a loss? One, we know that one of the major income from other sources is casual income. Casual income. थोड़ा सा detail लिख लो. Lottery, gambling, betting, online gaming. No losses allowed. I hope you remember. For this, I gave you 4 fundas as a revision. If you want to write down. No losses allowed. B, no expenses allowed. Ma'am, I have one in KBC 1 lakh rupees, but going to and from here to Mumbai to the KBC studio and all. Nahi, kuch nahi milta. No basic exemption. No expenses.
Deductions.
No loss. What was the 4th point? I missed out.
No deductions.
No deductions. Thank you so much. You all are very smart learners. No deduction. ATC to ATU. Okay, I have one from KBC 5 lakh rupees, but I have put 1,50,000 in the PPF. Give me deduction. नहीं मिलता ना. तो कैजुअल इनकम में तो लॉस आने का सवाल ही नहीं है. As a student, they expect us that we should not do absurd things, but in exam, absurd things are asked. They will give you in lottery, there is a loss of 80,000. My question is, how does loss come? Because expenses are only not allowed. Casual income are taxable flat at 30%. So, no question of the set off and losses, because casual income are CI, if you want to write, taxable at flat 30%. Flat 30%. तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है losses. और एक है ब्रैकेट के अंदर, इनकम फ्रॉम हॉर्स रेसेस. इनकम फ्रॉम हॉर्स रेसेस. इनकम फ्रॉम हॉर्स रेसेस में अगर लॉस है, सेट ऑफ only in income from horse races. Are you getting? In Hyderabad, we have race course. Each horse is of more than 2 lakh, 3 lakh, and it's a business. So this income from horse races ka agar aapka business hai, and if there's a loss, that can be set off only in income from horse races. And here most important condition is business to be continued. If business is discontinued, you cannot set off the losses. Business should be continued. Otherwise, you cannot set off the losses. है ना?
The exception.
You want me to dictate? Income from horse races. Put a dash. Dash is for grammar. If there is a loss, set off only in income from horse races. Income from horse races topic का नाम है. अगर there is a loss from the horse races, set off only in income from horse races. And last I have written business to be continued. Otherwise you cannot set off the loss. So the gist is income from other sources, no losses can be carried forward. You can't have losses carried forward in income from other sources except horse races. Ma'am, you are repeating the point. Yes, I know. No losses can be carried forward except horse races. कुछ नहीं हो सकता इसका. You know why I have given you, dear students? If you remember, I made you write yesterday. Dividend is received 10,000 RIL, and to invest in that I have paid interest 30,000. 30,000 interest will be allowed only up to 20%. 2,000. No need to write. This is all written to you. And 8,000 dividend will be taxable. बात ही खत्म. So they are not allowing you expenses more. See, if you invest in the Reliance Industries shares and all, and if you have paid some brokerage, some charges, they are not allowing you anything. But from dividend income, up to 20% of dividend income, you can deduct interest. Ma'am, but I have paid 30,000 interest. वो dividend peanuts आया तो मैं क्या करूं? Still only 20% of dividend tak expenses are allowed. Only till 20%. So where's the question then of getting a loss? So now without looking at the screen, tell me, is the gist clear? The next 5 minutes, the next part will also be over. Until now,
Yes,
is it clear? And now I'm making you learn. And if you have learned it, revise it too. Salary, no question of loss. House property, intra-head allowed. Business head, intra-head allowed. B1, B2, B3 allowed. Speculative business loss can be set off in business profit and speculative profit. Kidhar bhi set off karo. Speculative loss can be set off only in speculative loss. Capital gain, most rigid. Long-term loss only in long-term capital gain. Short-term loss in short-term and long-term, but both don't come out of their house. And last is other source, no question of loss because limited. What was the other source expense allowed? Section 57, 56 chargeability. We made the list. 57 we said chotu some expenses are allowed. 58 disallowed. What is not allowed in business head? Single day expense above 10,000 either be not allowed. So hardly expenses are allowed, so no question. Now I'm going to enter head. We tried best B1, B2, B3, 3 business mein. We tried to set off loss, but B1, B2 peanuts income and B3 loss is very high. Now can I go out and meet my neighbors? Can we set off one head's loss with others? Yes. To set off in the same year, अभी हम carry forward में नहीं गए. First I tried to do it mutually. झगड़ा हुआ तो भाई बहन खुद ही लड़के सॉल्व करते हैं. नहीं हुआ तो मम्मी के पास जाते हैं. नहीं हुआ तो head of the family, बड़े पप्पा, right or not? So like that, this is the hierarchy. Intra-head, चलो let us juggle. If not, let us go out and talk. If not, let us carry forward. Next year मैं देख लेती थी को क्या करना है. That's how the fight goes on. Followed? So now we are going to the second part and continue writing in your notes. Anyone is having any doubt? I'm pausing so that you can ask. Pucho.
Yes, ma'am. Can a business be carried, like a business has to be continued, you said. What does this mean? Then we need to regularly invest in this, I mean, take part in these horse races.
No, I'll explain. See, for all the losses to be, actually I thought I'll explain in carry forward. But if you have a doubt now, listen. All the losses can be carried forward and set off for 4 years, 8 years in their respective heads. So I was doing a textile business and there was a loss. Because of the loss, I closed textile business. But that loss is there, no? So I carried forward for 8 years. Next year, I opened a restaurant and there I got profit. So can I set off textile loss brought forward in the restaurant loss even though the textile business is closed? Answer is yes. So for all the losses to be carried forward and set off, it's not necessary to continue the business. House property, one, there is a loss and I'm carrying forward. This time I purchased house property 2, there is income. I want to set off house property 1 loss, but meanwhile I have to transfer house property 1. But still that loss I can carry forward for 8 years. Is your doubt clear?
Yeah, but what do you mean by carrying forward business of horse races? What is it exactly? Like you don't come, it doesn't come under some profession or business also, right?
No, if the business losses are carry forward, I thought I'll explain in carry forward. You're asking all the questions now. 8 years you can carry forward the loss. है ना? But till then, if there is no business income, that loss will lapse. खत्म हो जाएगा.
Ma'am.
Come up again. If your doubt is not clear, ask again.
Continuation of business in horse races का क्या मतलब है exactly?
That business should be, see, I'm doing horse races business and there is a loss. They said this loss you can carry forward for 4 years. But next year there should be income from horse races. Na, wo business continue hona chahiye. Tabhi you can set off the loss. That's the meaning.
Ma'am, the horse race is not a business, right?
horse races is a business. We see in movies, no, there are horse races is a business. I think if you're not aware, then listen and search a lot in Google. It's legally allowed. Lottery is not in Telangana, so we don't know. But there are other states, lottery is legal. What is horse races? They have horses, studs, they maintain, they train them, they make them eat well and all. And then the races are going on. You have to bet on this horse, one horse, 20 horse, 30 horse, and that race goes on. Race course is there, horses are there, and it's a business. But the thing is, if last year there was a loss in horse race 20,000 and I want to set off, business should continue this year. I should get income. Now is it clear?
Because it is not business income for us.
हाँ, I think your doubt is कि horse races अगर business है तो business head में नहीं ले रहे, नहीं, वो other source में ही आता है. It's taxable in other source.
तो हमारे लिए business थोड़ी ना होगा, हमारे लिए तो casual income है ना वो.
So I'm not talking for you. I'm talking for the person who's owning the horse race business. उसके लिए it is income from other source. For both, followed or not.
Okay.
Okay, you were talking from the point of view that you are going and betting and earning the income. Yeah, right. That's going to be taxable as a casual income. तो उसमें फिर वो set off का. This is income from running the horse races का business. Chalo. Let us go to the next one now. I hope all the 5 heads are clear. Anyone else was also raising the hands? किसी को doubt है? पूछो. Otherwise, we'll go to section 71 and it is called as inter-head adjustment. If I am not able to adjust within the same head, I want all of you to write, go back to the first one heading and write off. Adjustment in same head. We are not crossing our line. We are mutually arguing within the room. अभी हम room से बाहर ही नहीं गए मम्मी पापा के पास. Adjustment in the same head. Now, inter-head adjustment. Adjust losses with other heads. Adjust losses with other heads. Those who are doing online also, if you have doubt, you can unmute or use the chat box. और offline में अभी भी किसी को doubt है तो पूछो, no problem. See, if doubt is there and not clear, you will not listen to next what I am saying. 1 second, dear students. After writing the notes, we'll take a break and then you will enjoy solving the problems. इतने अच्छे problem है ना?
Honestly. मैम वो इंटर हेड या इंट्रा हेड है?
इंटर हेड बोलते हैं ना. अब इंग्लिश थोड़ी मैं पढ़ाऊं आपको, ऐसे क्यों? इंट्रा हेड मतलब विद इन द सेम हेड. इंटर कॉलेज कॉम्पिटिशन, इंटर हेड, go and meet other heads. Okay, in that rule number 1, loss from one head can be set off with others. Loss of one head can be set off with other head. Every batch ka experiences, even after understanding, students need time to digest because these are maths rule. So after 1 hour when I do the problem again, you say acha okay, and then so make sure you practice bare minimum 25 questions now to learn it forever. Loss from one head can be set off with other heads except a bit. Business loss cannot be set off in salary. You can make that danger sign if you are good in drawing. इतना boldly याद रखना. Loss from one head can be set off with other heads. Oh, do you want me to write headwise again ki salary mein to there's no question of loss only. So with other heads, why do you have to adjust? I hope clear. Business loss cannot be set off with salary. दोनों की दोस्ती नहीं है. Who are not friends? 1 and 3. I want all of you to write. 1 and 3 are not friends. एग्जाम में मत लिखना. दीप्ति मैम ने लिखाया है, मुझे मार्क्स दो. Just to make you learn. I don't know if you now can recollect salary. One problem they had given business loss brought forward. And I said, write down a note ki even though there's income in salary, you cannot set off this business loss in salary. It was there in one of the problems. House property loss can be set off. House property loss can be set off with other heads. With other heads up to rupees 2 lakh. Super duper important for MCQ. House property loss can be set off with other heads up to rupees 2 lakh over and out. इतना beautiful है. Ma'am ऐसे क्यों? Finish writing. Listen. Yeah, I'll write more to it also. First you understand. Actually, business house property na losses are usually high. You know why? Say I'm having a property. I'm getting monthly rental 50,000. And so 12 5s are 66 lakhs yearly income, GAV, less municipal taxes, NAV, less 30% standard deduction. है ना? So my taxable rental income is coming say 4,20,000, 6 lakh 30% and all karke. But this property is of crores of rupees and 420 is my NAV. But I am paying repayment of housing loan 13 lakhs interest. When property is in crores of rupees, the interest of the EMI will be also high. So interest is allowed to be set off, yes or no? Let out and deemed let out property, actual interest is allowed. Only in self-occupied property, loss is allowed up to 2 lakh. Don't confuse that 2 lakh and this. Otherwise, set off gaya side mein, I will start revising house property. Only in self-occupied property, losses are there up to 2 lakh. But if it is actually let out property, even if interest on loan is 4 lakh and there's a loss of 8 lakh still allowed. So just please understand this and use it, apply it in your internship, articleship also. House property may high chances of getting losses because most of the people don't buy property with their money. Their money they put at 12% interest and housing loan is available at 9%, 9.25. They'll take housing loan. Rental income aa raha hai. This is a very nice thing. People in high-tech city who are working, they do that. If I have to pay 30,000 rent, and somewhere I can get monthly 20,000 rather than paying 30,000 rent and zero capital, I should pay 50,000 EMI. After 10 years, at least I'll have one tukda of property in my name. This is financial planning. So always remember interest is going to be there. That's why house property, there's a chance of loss. आ जाओ, जहां पे आपका मिस हो गया लिख लो. I'm making you write. House property loss can be set off with other heads up to rupees 2 lakh. Up to rupees 2 lakh. If ROI, return, अगर ROI नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, return on investment. If return filed in normal regime. Normal regime is, you know, up to 250 nil, 250. Normal regime, you are filing the return. Default, when I teach you again, I will highlight and make you write this point there. But still write down. House property loss cannot be set off with other heads. Write down crystal clear. House property loss cannot be set off with other heads. If return is filed in default tax regime, which is not taught to you, you will get the comparative chart and all, but abhi likh lo. under section 150 BAs. House property loss cannot be set off with other heads if the return is filed in default tax regime. तो फिर मैम क्या करें हाउस प्रॉपर्टी का लॉस का? कैरी फॉरवर्ड करो. And other cases you can set off. Sorry, I missed out. I wanted to give you an example like this. House property. One second. Okay. Once again, there was some disturbance. So let me continue with example. House property loss can be set off with other heads up to 2 lakh in normal tax regime. For that, I want all of you to write this example. If house property loss is 8 lakhs, business income is 10 lakhs. This is the question. Okay. Answer will be business income 10 lakhs. Write down all of you answer also. House property loss, set off the house property loss 2 lakhs and make the business income 8 lakhs, and house property loss carried forward 6 lakhs. Take your time. Business income is 10 lakhs. हाउस प्रॉपर्टी लॉस कैन बी सेट ऑफ. अब मैंने वो दोनों सब फिगर सेम लिख लिए 2 लाख तक ही. तो बिजनेस इनकम विल नाउ बिकम 8 lakhs and house property loss carry forward in the inner column 6 lakh. Presentation may I tell you, if you are carrying forward the losses, you have to present it very nicely. Marks are there for them. And house property loss cannot be set off with other heads if the return is filed in default tax regime. Okay?
मैम एक मिनट हम लोग को लिखना है.
हाँ लिखो लिखो. Any doubt anywhere? Ask. Actually, after this, all the set of rules are same, but still I want you to write.
Ma'am, can you explain the example once again?
Yeah, you finish writing? Yeah. Question is, house property loss is 8 lakhs. Business income is 10 lakhs. So in business income, can I set off house property loss? Yes. House property can go out of its house and meet the neighboring head up to 2 lakhs. So house property loss can be set off in the business income up to 2 lakh. And so business income will become 8 lakh. And house property loss remaining will be carried forward 6 lakhs. What was house property loss? 8 lakh. 2 lakh तो आपने बाहर adjust कर लिया ना, तो only 6 lakhs. Actually, it's the same figure. By mistake, I just took randomly. तो 2 lakh, 8 lakh, 8 lakh, same figure आ गया. Clear है या figures change करूं?
Clear है मैम, बस लिख रहे हैं.
If you finish writing, we'll go to the next one. Leave it. Actually, now onwards, what I'm writing is already done. Speculative loss. Only in speculative profit. I already told you. You can't set off anywhere else. So no question of setting off the speculative loss with speculative profit only. Not with other heads. Possible ही नहीं है other heads के साथ. हाँ, But can business loss be set off in the speculative profit? Yes. I'm not writing now everything. Put more attention to the learning. And as I told you, tomorrow also, we are taking the set of class only because I want to do that drilling with all of you. Presentation is important. Student ke kahan marks jate, I'll tell you while solving the question. Aa jao, next one. Short-term capital loss. In short-term capital gain. ये रिपीट भी लिख रहे तो भी लिख दो. शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन, short term capital loss and long term capital gain. Long term capital loss only in long term capital gain. Put everything in block and not with other heads. You cannot come out of your house. So no question of going and meeting your neighbors. For capital gain, who are the neighbors? Business head, house property, salary, other source. कभी नहीं जाते हैं घर से बाहर, घर के अंदर ही रहते हैं. That's why that big block, introvert people. अच्छा, I have a question here. You all finished writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Capital gain is very rigid, huh? Long term to first floor, short term to ground floor. Both of them are there. They don't want to go and meet their neighbors. Can their neighbors come to their house and have tea, samosa? हम उनके घर जाएंगे क्या? चाय नाश्ता करके आएंगे? What does that mean? Can I set off business loss in the capital gain? Yes. House property loss in the capital gain? Yes. Salary, so there's no question of loss. Other source to there. You are getting or not? This point takes time to digest the way I'm explaining. When we solve the problem, yeah, ma'am, you can take an outer call. See, capital gain is most rigid. I'm re-explaining. They're not come ready to go to other heads and set off. No problem. You stay in your house. We are the very friendly. हमको जो मिले उसको hello बोलते हैं. Can we go to the house of the capital gain and have tea samosa? Answer is yes. Who? Business loss can be set off in capital gain? Yes. House property loss can be set off in capital gain? Yes. Salary loss ही नहीं आता salary. Other source loss ही नहीं आता. Followed or not. This point is not printed in the books, but without applying this, you can't get 7 out of 7 marks. So I want to write. Not with other heads. If you want, write here. Short-term capital loss and long-term capital loss cannot be set off with other heads. और यहाँ पे एक बड़ा सारा but business loss and income from house property loss, BL, business loss and house property loss can be set off. We'll work it out practically after the break, so it will be very clear. Business loss, income from house property loss can be set off in long-term capital gain and short-term capital. You don't come out of your house, short-term and long-term. We will come and we will not only sit in ground floor. From ground floor, we will say, shout and say hello to long-term capital gain also. Is my example making it clear or not?
Ma'am, जो short term capital loss set off short term capital gain वाला डब्बा है, that also cannot be set off with other heads. And short term capital loss and long term capital loss, even they cannot be set off with other heads. But
ये इतनी बड़ी border बनाई है ना, ये रही. हाँ. Then continue.
But the नीचे वाला part है, they can be set off.
Others can come and meet, right? And rest all the points are same, like horse races and horse races. If you still want, you can write again in block. Loss from horse races set off only in income. Loss from horse races can be set off only in income from horse races. फिर वही बात. See, the problem is intra-heady, those people, and understand the logical answer of this. Those people who don't, gel within the house. Do you think घर के घर में ही if they don't gel, how they are going to talk with their neighbors? So if the losses from horse races can be set off only in income from horse races. So we have completed two things. We'll take a break and thoda patience rako when I do the problem. Oh, this is very easy, plus minus. Because when we do the problem practically, we'll apply this knowledge. Okay? But because this is little off track, kabhi aise nahi padha hai aapne, I'll revise again, teach you, carry forward, and then we will continue. Okay? 5 minutes. Take a break. Okay, point E I will explain again. We are in interhead. Interhead means, okay, can I go and set off my loss with other heads? Answer is short-term capital loss can be set off in short-term and long-term. Long-term capital loss can be set off only in long-term. But both of these losses cannot get set off with other heads. The meaning of this E point left-hand side is that short-term and capital loss, keep patience, you can set off only within your limits. You cannot go out of the house and meet your neighbors and set off. Is this part clear to you? Now, right side, yes. I made you write that, okay, short-term capital loss within the house, long-term capital loss within the house. But instead of loss, what if there is a gain, short-term capital gain, long-term capital gain? It's a profit there. And there's a loss in business. Can we set off business loss in the capital gain? Yes. They are not ready to come out of the house. Can we go and meet them? Yes. So we can set off business loss and house property loss in capital gain. It's allowed. Ma'am, why not salary loss? There's no loss in salary. Why not other source loss? There's no loss in other source. In short, the gist of EBIT is short-term and long-term capital loss are introvert peoples. They are not coming. But these losses are flexible. House property loss, business loss, they are flexible. They can set off in short-term and long-term capital gain if there is a gain. If they themselves are having loss, they will set off only between them. Now is the E point clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Chalo. Next one I'm making you write now. Only the simplest part I want you to write. So we have completed with set off. We have completed with BODMAS rules within the same. Now, if there is loss and you are not able to carry forward, then set off agar possible nahi hai. Write down the heading. If set off not possible because kahin koi income ka source hi nahi hai. There's no income. Then carry forward losses. Carry forward losses to be set off in same head. What do you mean by this? First, I think you should understand this. Ye dekho. Okay, you could not set off the business loss in other business income. Possible nahi tha. You could not set off the business loss with other rates because there was no income. Carry forward the business loss. But when you carry forward the business loss, next year it can be set off only within same head. Next year it cannot roam in the colony. You followed? House property loss, if you set off, house property income only, next year it will be adjusted. Business loss, if you carry forward, business income. Horse races only in horse. Other than this, so no losses are allowed. Capital gain only in capital gain. So whenever you carry forward losses, you can set off only in the same head. Only exception to rule is unabsorbed depreciation. Now I'm teaching you that part which we skipped in the business head. Okay. And there's a Set off age also. How many years I should carry forward the loss? 2 years, 4. So most of the losses can be carried forward for 8 years, except few which can be carried forward for 4 years. Okay, but very important is, ma'am, this year so there is loss. Even if I file or don't file return, my tax is 0. Please come up with a common logic now onwards. Filing of your return has got nothing to do with the taxes paid. Even if it's a loss and you don't have any tax to be paid out of your pocket, you have to file your return on time. Then only this loss you can carry forward and set off. So literally, I'm telling you practical aspect. People who incur losses, they are more cautious to file their return on time so that they get the benefit of carry forward this lakhs of rupees of loss to be set off. I'll just make you write the gist because this part will be more clear when we do the notes. If set off is not possible, then carry forward loss to be set off in same head, except unabsorbed depreciation. Except unabsorbed depreciation, which will be carried forward, except unabsorbed depreciation, which will be carried forward and set off with any income, except salary. Ma'am, why unabsorbed depreciation cannot be set off in salary? Unabsorbed depreciation is a part of business loss. How can you set off that in salary? चलो, write down. This was like a heading or a pointer, whatever you say. इसमें कुछ और point लिखेंगे. Speculative loss and loss from owning and maintaining horse races. वो पूरा नाम है. I think I didn't tell you the whole name, that's why you were confused. Owning and maintaining horse races का जो business है can be carried forward for 4 years. How many years speculative loss and owning and maintaining horse races can be carried forward for? 4 years. To be set off in income from same head. Speculative loss can be set off in speculative profit. Horse races can be set off in horse races ka profit. And it can be carried forward for 4 years. Ma'am, if 4 years there's no income, then what about this loss? This loss will lapse. You will not be allowed to set off anywhere. Next. All other losses can be carried forward for 8 years. This is 4 years. This is 8 years. Example also you can write. Business loss, income from house property ka loss, or long-term capital loss, or short-term capital loss. All can be carried forward for 8 years. To be, yeah, please say.
जो अगर हाउस प्रॉपर्टी हॉर्स रेस का लॉस आएगा 4 साल बाद, it will be lapsed, right? So first year we got 10,000 and 20,000, 30,000 and then 40,000. So 10,000 वाला lapse होगा ना?
You have to set off in sequence that is given and printed in your book. You can't say, ma'am, earlier loss was 10,000, lapse hone do, now it is 4 lakhs, allow me to set off this first. No. You're in a queue, aap Qatar mein hai. You can't jump.
नहीं, ma'am, my doubt is like 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 year getting profits. So in that year, you can't set up the 10,000 loss, right? Of the first year.
Yeah, because 4 years are over.
Sorry, ma'am?
If 4 years are over, you cannot set off that 10,000 loss. From the year when loss came, next 4 years. Okay, if you want, I can give an example like this. Suppose there's a loss in 24-25. You can set off this for 4 years. What will be the 4 years? 25-26, 26-27, 27-28, 28-29. Over and out. Khatam. 28-29 may be set off nahi hua, this loss. From this year you started carrying forward next 4 years. If not, this year it will lapse.
Okay, ma'am.
If not, it will lapse. Lapse means wo waste ho jayega. Acha, coming back to our sequence where we were, just allow me to complete this. Speculative loss and horse races can be carried forward for 4 years to be set off in the same head. All other losses can be carried forward for 8 years to be set off in the same head. Now, in that, write down loss due to Section 35 AD. Anyone remembers what is Section 35 AD? 35 AD. Which
Specified
AD?
business.
Very good, very good. Specified businesses, 2-star and above hotel, multi-speciality hospital. Now, if you go and read, no, there also I have printed. I have interlinked the point in my whole compiler. So, specified business, if there is a loss due to 35 AD, 2-star and above hotel, multi-speciality hospital and all, it can be, this loss can be carried forward for indefinite period. Super duper important for MCQ. Example के फॉर्म में पूछते हैं. Indefinite period to be set off in specified business. Because of 35 AD, specified business revenue and capital expenditure all allowed. For 2-star and above hotel, building ka cost, furniture, upholstery, ye wo sab allowed. So obviously, if capital expenditure is allowed, there's going to be loss. This loss can be carried forward for indefinite period to be set off in the speculative business income only, not other. This is not speculative, huh? This is specified business. S अगर आपने नाम सेम लिखा है. और ये तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. Unabsorbed depreciation can be carried forward for indefinite period. Just leave 2-3 lines before we go to the question. I want all of you to first read this with me. This is very important. Directly the third part. And then if you have any doubt, you can ask. Carry forward of all the losses. Loss from house property, 8 years to be set off in house property. Unabsorbed business loss, 8 years business income. Unabsorbed depreciation, indefinite period. I want all of you to put a block. Indefinite period can be set off against any income other than salary, because salary and business head are not friends. Speculative loss, 4 years, star mark, speculative income. Short-term and long-term loss, 8 years. Short-term loss can be carried forward for 8 years to be set off in short-term and long-term. That same logic. But long-term loss, most rigid, carry forward for 8 years, set off in long-term. Owning and maintaining horse races, 4 years. Income from sea. Loss from activity of owning and maintaining horse races, not casual income. Loss from specified period, indefinite, in the same. I want all of you to do star mark here and block here and then tick in all the others so that for exam you remember the gist. Let me once again tell you, unabsorbed depreciation and 35D loss, indefinite period, chalne do. And set off anywhere except business salary. Speculative loss and horse races, 4 years. Rest all the losses, 8 years. all type of losses can be carried forward for 8 years except speculative and horse races for 4 years. Only in case of owning and maintaining horse races, business must be continued. Rest, even if the textile loss of 21-22 is closed textile business, I can still set off that in my restaurant business. As per section 18, order to carry forward loss, it is mandatory to file the return on time as per due date, except house property and unabsorbed depreciation. Such a beautiful, actually this whole points are only important. You want to carry forward your loss to be set off for 8 years, make sure you file your return on time. That's 31st July or whatever due date. If you file your return late, your loss will lapse. Except house property and unabsorbed depreciation, even if you file your return late, it will be allowed to be set off. Next, any unabsorbed depreciation ke liye I can give you very good examples. That's why I asked you to leave the space, but it will be over again at a time. I want to read this problem, apply and solve some questions today. Remind me tomorrow, I'll give you some very nice examples more. Any unabsorbed depreciation will be carried forward for unlimited number of years till it is fully written off. And they can be adjusted anywhere except salary. Ma'am, ये तो point repeat हो रहा है क्योंकि बहुत important है. Loss of SSC claiming deduction under 35 AD in specified business can be set off against other specified business irrespective of whether the latter is eligible for deduction or not. See, I am having loss due to hotel business. Now I have shifted to production of fertilizer. Yaad hai? Housing and all. But this is also specified. This is also specified. Loss can be set off irrespective ki isko 35 AD mein jana hai ya nahi. This is an in-depth point. If you remember, fine. Without this also, it's okay. Now, very smart plan is, ma'am, current year's loss to I can carry forward for 8 years. In my net profit, I want to first set off the brought forward loss because it will lapse. This is already the 8th year, not allowed. Sequence says current year's depreciation, scientific research, expenditure, family planning. Matlab current year's expenditure you set off first. Brought forward business loss second. Then brought forward depreciation, unabsorbed and all. In short, you can't say, ma'am, current year's depreciation I'll carry it forward क्योंकि unabsorbed. पुराना loss मैं पहले set off करती. ऐसे नहीं होता है. Current year's expenditure, including depreciation and all, you have to set off first. Then, if you remember these three, I want all of you to put the bracket. Most important. Current year's expenses, brought forward business loss, brought forward unabsorbed depreciation. ठीक है? Right. This is all about carry forward. Set off, I'll just give you a glimpses, but better than this, what notes we have written, dear students. Itna patiently aapne likha. I think more than 1 hour 15 minutes are over since we started the topic. Loss of one source can be set off with other source in the same head. Like business, one loss can be set off in business two, except speculative loss can be set off in speculative profit, not the business profit. But business loss can be set off in both. This is in sentence form. I gave you in diagram form. Long-term capital loss can be set off only in long-term gain. Short-term capital, not in short-term capital gain. हाँ, but short-term capital loss दोनों में set off होता है. Loss from owning and maintaining horse races business, same source. Gambling, lottery and all, no set off. You cannot set off. Same thing in the diagram form given. Interhead, loss of one head can be set off with other, except speculative loss can be set off only in speculative. Business loss cannot be set off in salary. I want all of you, isko kuch to color karo, makeup karo, kuch to karo. 1 and 3 are not friends. Ab to learn hi ho gaya aapko. And rest all the points are same. Are we ready to go into some problems? Every problem with explanation might take 10 minutes. In exam, it doesn't take more than 7 minutes. Itne easy, itne interesting, itne अच्छे problems हैं. Yeah. Any more doubts? Give yourself time to digest this. We'll do this again tomorrow. Then I want to go to problems and I want to teach you some presentation skills also. Shall we start?
1 minute, ma'am.
You're writing?
Yeah.
Okay. Till those who are writing, fine. बाकी लोग सिर्फ ध्यान से सुनो. Head-wise you have to do. Even if they start with loss from horse races and blah blah information, put it in proper 5-head sequence. Always make 2 amount column. The inner column is intra-head within the same head. And take that loss in outer column only if inter-head possible. तो ही बाहर लो. अच्छा, losses which are carried forward, surely write a separate note. This was heard in the recent comments. I told you, Institute has made the webinar and they are commenting. Usme bhi they have told. Clearly they have told ki in the comments ki very important it is for that second what I was saying. हाँ, आप जो भी losses carry forward कर रहे हो उसको अलग से दिखाना जरूरी. ठीक है? Right. And return to be filed on time, that is also necessary. Problems are very, very easy. I took little explanation lengthy. You have to give me feedback. Was it interesting or thoda zyada lengthy tha, or it was easy to read from the booster notes or from the printed material? Bolo. Mr. Bedi, submit. You have to give the feedback at the end of the class. Abhi problem karo. Mrs. Bedi submitted the following information. Income from salary is given to you. Okay, right. And then they didn't say that it is a computed salary. So obviously we'll take standard deduction. Income from house property is given. Can we set off H1 and all? Yes. Speculative business is also there. Income. Oh, normal there's a business loss. And speculative mein there's income. Can we set off business loss and speculative income? I want all of you to read and interpret. It's your first problem. Bolo, answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we set off? Yes. Business loss can be set off in speculative income. Speculative loss rigid है. हम क्या करें? उसको बात नहीं करना है. हम तो smile कर देंगे, hi कर देंगे, right? Capital gain. Short term loss can be set off in long term capital gain. छोटा भाई ऊपर चढ़ के जाएगा. Yes. Short term capital loss can be set off in the long term capital gain. Yes. Income from other sources. Betting. Income. Take it directly outer column. Loss from horse races. Not allowed only. You can't set off this loss with any other except income from horse races. So this will not be set off anywhere, but definitely this can be carried forward. Loss due to maintaining horse races can be carried forward for 4 years. So you can. Interest on securities. Interest which you have paid on loan, borrowed to invest in the securities. Okay. Dividend mein to interest is around 20%. In securities, there's no limit. So we can allow this loss. Okay. Right. Determine the gross total income opted out of the default. Every time for set off problems, check if he has opted out of the default tax regime. House property loss can be set off with other heads. If he is in the default tax regime, house property loss cannot be set off with other heads. Clear? This is the first problem. Reading part is over. You have any doubt in reading, then ask. Otherwise, we'll start solving. Leave some space for that unabsorbed and all explanation. I'll make you write tomorrow. Read at home. Any doubts you have? साथ में करेंगे हाँ ये problem.
Ma'am, how many pages should we leave?
1 page. मैंने तो आधा ही पेज छोड़ा है. आप 1 पेज छोड़ दो बेटा. बहुत स्वीट वाला क्वेश्चन था. Computation of income. of Mrs. Bedi. I want to give you unabsorbed depreciation के some examples. Computation of income of Mrs. Bedi. I hope it is clear and this is your, don't write in final exam, but because it's your first problem, I want you all to write intra-head set off. Inner column is for intra-head set off and outer column is for inter-head set off. Chalo, start with first one. Income from salary. Quickly. Income from salary. 5,000 into 12. 12 5s are 60,000. No other detail is given. So at least we have to give the standard deduction. How much? 60,000. पूरा ही salary income में loss आ गया. So standard deduction. Till last year it was 50. Now it is 675. So that will change the answer. So standard deduction is 60,000. So salary income is nil. Can we give the standard deduction 75 and show a loss? No, not allowed. Now come to income from house property. You can write H1 in exam also. Chalega. 18,000 income. H2, there's loss of 20,000. H3 is self-occupied. There's a loss of 12,000. So can we set off 18,000 or 20 or 12 आपस में? Yes. Finally, I need a calculator. You all also get your calculator. Is there any income or now there is absolutely a loss? Loss ही है ना पूरा? $18,000 minus 20,000 and minus 12,000. There's a loss. This person has come out of the default tax regime, 115 BAC. So he can set off the loss with other heads. But let us see how much is other income. Utna loss set off karenge. Right now I am writing 14,000 loss in outer column because I can set off this loss. Let us go to the third one now. Third head. Business head. Business and profession. Business A. There's a loss. 25,000. Business B. It's a speculative income. 35,000. Of course, you can set off the normal business loss and speculative income and bring it outside. Speculative income. Had it been vice versa, तो allowed नहीं रहता था. If there was a loss in speculative, you cannot set off. Is my speed fine? समझ में आ रहा है? Capital gain. Capital gain. Short-term capital loss, 18,000. Can we set off in long-term capital gain? Yeah. Ground floor brother can go to first floor and meet the elder brother, long-term capital gain. Short-term capital loss can be set off, but then gain, long-term capital gain was only 10,000. Still we have 8,000 short-term capital loss to be CF carried forward. बिल्कुल carry forward करेंगे. Anyone is stuck up anywhere, please ask. Otherwise, last head, income from other sources. Income from betting, don't even write in the inner column. You can write it in the outer column. Ma'am, why? It's straight taxable, flat taxable. Betting, lottery, gambling, casual income, KBC winning and all. You cannot set off any losses, so no point in. This column is to set off the loss. अलाउड ही नहीं है, सीधा बाहर लिख दो. लॉस फ्रॉम owning horse races. What I should do of this loss? 12,000 carried forward. Carry forward for 4 years to be set off in the inner column. Outer column may take it only if you can set off. I'll give lot of explanation tomorrow also for every problem. तो बहुत clear समझ में आएगा आपको. Interest on securities. 18,000. Interest on loan borrowed to invest in security. See, for dividend, there is a limit. Interest is around 20%. Here, there is no limit. No limit. So, can I have a loss here? Yes. This loss, I cannot set off in casual income. But this loss, I can set off with business income. So, I want to bring it in the outer column. But look at the screen. You know, now you have options. There is only business income 10,000 and house property loss 14,000. So this you can set off up to 10,000 and carry. तो यहाँ तो income ही नहीं है. So this loss will lapse. Other source loss you cannot carry it forward. So this loss will lapse. तो better है कि हम ये loss पहले set off करेंगे. Bring it in the outer column. I'll tell you. Very in-depth problem only I picked up the first one. Interest on securities, there's a loss. Can we set off this here in business income? Other source loss, can we set off in the house proper business income and all? Yeah. Intra-head, it's possible. Other source loss cannot be carried forward, but दूसरे head में possible है. I want, this is your own book ना, तो आप यहाँ लिख दो not allowed. Not allowed. You can't set off other source loss in betting and all because it's straight taxable. But can you set off in 10,000? Yes, allowed. Don't write in final exam, but for to understand, write down. Now, how much loss 2,000 you are setting off here? 10,000 may 8,000. Remaining 8,000 house property loss you can set off. So you have to write now in inner column. Outer column only bring 8,000. Only bring 8,000 in the outer column. 6,000 carried forward. House property loss. Only 8,000 outer column क्योंकि उससे ज्यादा income ही नहीं है. Gross total income became nil. Problem became little more tricky because standard deduction changed from 50 to 75. But it's the correct way of doing. Ma'am, instead of setting this 8,000 here, can I set off full 10,000? Yeah. Then this will lapse. Other source, you cannot carry forward the loss. Losses can be carried forward for house property, business head and capital gain. Now I want you all to write summary. Summary of losses carry forward. सबसे पहले house property loss. Write down house property loss. कितना carry forward कर रहे हैं? 6,000. It was 14. Out of that 8 you have set off. So 6,000. Next. Short-term capital loss. You adjusted in long-term and then you are carrying forward. 8,000. Short-term capital loss. Next. Other source. Horse races. Loss from horse races. Loss from horse races. There are very easy problem also, but always when we do the technical part tough, later it becomes very, very easy. Should I say the gist or you want to ask your doubts first? We'll do very good all the problems in the class only. I have specially printed at the end, if you have seen, past exam questions also, which are like superb. 9th, 10th, 11th, all. Tell me, is the presentation and problem clear or you have some doubts? I started with salary and there was standard deduction, so no income. I started with house property, 14,000 loss can be set off with other income, but other income is only 8,000. So I carry forward 6,000. Business loss, I have set off in business income and I brought it outside. Short-term capital loss, I set off in short-term capital gain. And then I carried forward 8,000 because it was more. Betting directly right outside casual income, no losses can be set off. To seedha bahar aa jao. Horse races, there's a loss straight carry forward to be set off only in same income. Interest on securities, there was a loss and now it is 2,000. Clear to all of you? Anyone is having any doubt, ask.
Ma'am, in gross total income, we have to write 9,000 no, ma'am.
Gross total income में पूरा हाँ yes sure 9,000 it's not nil because casual income तो you have to pay 30% tax. और कोई डाउट पूछो, और कोई डाउट है? एक क्लास जल्दी से करें. Yeah, give yourself time to digest this and surely it will be clear. हाँ, पर डाउट है तो पूछो ना. हाँ. Can you come again?
हमारा आपके डिफरेंस आप इसको मतलब नहीं समझ रहे हैं.
Can you come up again, बेटा? क्या पूछ रहे थे? पूछो.
आपके आंसर जो हमने अभी करा है और जो प्रिंटेड मटेरियल का आंसर डिफरेंस समझ नहीं आया.
Don't bother, that printed answer is wrong. I said standard deduction is changed. In spite of changing word to word, there will be changes. Why you are comparing? I think this I've made it very clear with other places also. I've done all the amendments and included, but standard deduction is missed out maybe somewhere. If it would have been 50,000, answer would come different, but don't bother. This is correct. Chalo. Now, we are doing the next problem. ये सब के लिए आपको derivatives and all I will explain tomorrow. This is pretty easy. I want to give as homework. Fifth one. Homework is fifth problem. Only loss in shares which are traded, never delivery taken. Okay. Intraday trading. It is treated as speculative business. It will be mentioned in exam. And sixth one, I want all of you to do it in the class with me. अभी करेंगे, छोटा वाला ही है तो रिदम में आ जाएगा. Income from salary, this time directly given, don't give standard deduction. It's computed. Loss from house property. Income from sugar business. Loss from iron ore business. Discontinued since 10 and 11. ये loss का क्या करूं? How many years you can carry forward business loss? अरे आंसर तो करो, आंसर मत देखो, आंसर करो. Business loss can be carried forward for how many years?
8 years.
8 years. So this is a loss of iron ore business which was discontinued in 2010 and 11. So since 10 and 11, are the 8 years over? In 19 and 20, yes. So this will lapse. ये खत्म हो गया. This has become a history, mystery. You can't set off this business loss and business income because this is related to 10 and 11, which is over. Which is over. Huh. Short-term loss. Anyone is still having doubt here? Not clear. Short-term loss can be set off in long-term capital gain, but gain is less and loss is more. So remaining 20,000 you carry forward. Dividend income taxable, lottery taxable, card game taxable, agricultural income in India is exempt. Long-term capital gain ये भी add हो जाएगा इसमें 10,000. ठीक है ना? And short-term capital loss है आपका STT से 10,000. ठीक है? Bank interest will come in others. Compute the gross total as if he has opted out. Straight problem it is. Only new thing added in this problem is 8 years old loss. If they give in exam, don't try to carry forward and set off. Okay, directly. Problem number 6. Rest all the problems are not homework. I'll do it in class, but this was like same what we have done, so I wanted to take this. Income of Soham, and we are in 24-25. So that old loss is set off, is over. What is income from salary?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Bolo.
Can we end it now because we have next class is 1:45. तो हम लोग को ब्रेक चाहिए एक्चुअली 1:45 को next class है तो अभी लंच का 15 minutes.
15 minutes? No, you should take half an hour. I thought the class is at 2 o'clock. While I was reading, you all didn't say. Again, we'll have to read and explain tomorrow. Okay. You know. No problem. You will try it. You try it. And if not, we will take tomorrow full class for set off. And especially you should mark very important problem number 9 onwards. They are all the past exam problems. So the way they ask, the way I will share with all of you how to write notes, it will be clear. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye. And keep asking doubts in the group also. No problem. Bye.